Hey mamas, it's Christy from Empower Fit Personal Training, and today I wanted to show you something that I see all the time when I'm coaching new moms returning to exercise, and also moms that are experienced athletes but have never been taught a new way of controlling their pressure and breath in their abdomen after babies, which is something super, super important, and it's, in my opinion, probably the number one most important thing you need when you are returning to exercise as a mom or when you're training in pregnancy. And it's because the pressure that we exert through our abdomen when we are moving, exercising, and breathing can cause a lot of negative effects on things like diastasis, on pelvic floor health, and thus causing back pain and a bunch of different issues like incontinence, pelvic floor dysfunction, a weakened diastasis. So there's a lot of different movements that we tend to get into the habit of bearing down or holding our breath and exerting what I call a negative pressure on our core and our pelvic floor. So if you have read through my free playbook for moms returning to training, or if you've coached with me before, or you've listened to any of my videos, we talk about the core connection breath all the time, and that's on the inhale, we allow our pelvic floor to descend, just to relax, and on the exhale, we force the air out and we allow our pelvic floor, we draw it upwards towards the center of our body. And what that does is it causes all the air and pressure to come out of our abdomen, our muscles to contract from all sides, front, middle, back, and bottom and top, to force the air out so that we're not bearing down, right? We bear down when we're trying to get things out of our pelvic floor, and that's not what we want after pregnancy. After delivery, we don't want to be bearing down anymore because we don't want things to come out. We want things to stay in there, right? So, I mean, it makes sense, but we don't think about it a lot after pregnancy, and nobody really comes out and says that. So, what I see a lot, and I'm going to show you here, I'll roll up my shirt. So what I see a lot with moms is when we're exercising, they will be, say, doing a straight arm pull down. And what'll happen is I'll see this. They'll pull down and they'll force the air out, and their belly will get round and hard because they're forcing the air out like this. They think they're exhaling, but they're bearing down and putting a lot of pressure on their abdomen here and on their belly. And if they've already got weakened diastasis, which most new moms do, and if you haven't trained properly, that diastasis can cause a lot of issues. But it also causes pressure to go downwards towards our pelvic floor. And our pelvic floor is kind of the bottom of our body, right? It's the last place where things can kind of come out. So we need to make sure that we're not forcing pressure down on our already, weakened and traumatized pelvic floor after birth and delivery. So we want to make sure that when we're doing those exercises, instead of bearing down, hey Mary, instead of bearing down and pushing out, we want to make sure that we are doing an inhale, filling the belly on the inhale, and on the exhale, feeling it all come back in together. So when you're doing the real core connection breath during any exercise, you should feel your abdomen get bigger on the inhale because we're letting everything relax, but on the exhale, it's all coming up, coming together and getting tighter. So it's almost like we're inhaling, forcing the pressure on the way out. We're not forcing the pressure, but we're inhaling and just letting it expand naturally. And then on the exhale, it's almost like you're tightening a corset up and everything is coming in nice and together, okay? So that's what we want to do. That's part of the core connection breath, but it's super important when we are doing things like exercise, or even when you are, say, putting something in a shelf overhead, right? Say you've got, I don't know, a bucket of baby clothes and you're putting it in the top of the closet because of course we all have a million baby clothes, right? So if you have something and you're putting it in, or groceries, you're putting something heavy above you and you're pressing up, you can think that a lot of us probably go, like that, and all of a sudden you have this pressure coming out here on your abdomen, which we don't want. So this happens a lot in our day-to-day activities, not just in the gym, but super important when you get back to training to make sure that we are not doing this bearing down motion or forcing bad pressure out on our abdomen and down on our pelvic floor. You might not even feel it down on your pelvic floor until one day you're bearing down and causing that pressure, and boom, prolapse. Maybe you never prolapsed before, all of a sudden you prolapse. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but as moms and as people that have gone through something where it has weakened our pelvic floor, our abdomen, our core, all that kind of stuff, we need to be aware of how these things really can impact our body in day-to-day and in the gym, because it's super important. You could go years without having any symptoms, and then just one too many times of doing something like that, bearing down and that pressure, all of a sudden now you're symptomatic, you're dealing with issues, and you have zero idea why. So I want you to know that these are the kind of things that can lead up to those sort of things. So be aware of it so that you can take the proper steps when you're exercising and in day-to-day life to stop it. So for those of you that are joining me late, you can always watch the replay, but I'll go through it one more time. We're talking about the difference between bearing down when we're exerting force and doing the right pelvic floor and core and the core brace. So when you're bearing down, we'll use the overhead motion. You can watch my belly. When we're doing it, a lot of times we'll press and then we'll go, and you'll see we'll force that pressure out on our belly. But what we want to do is we want to press, we want to do an inhale, let the belly expand on the inhale, and then when we exert, everything comes together nice and strong. My pelvic floor was gently rising up towards my belly button, and everything comes in. Now I don't have a bunch of pressure in my abdomen. Everything is pushed out. My muscles are active, and I'm nice and strong. This is when you're carrying groceries. I just went to Costco, and of course, everything that I had was giant boxes and giant bags of Costco style stuff. Well, every time I want to bring that in, I don't want to just bring in 2 bags. I want to bring in 5 because that's just what I do. So when you're lifting, you want to make sure that you don't lift and do a like this, pressing out. And we do it with, you don't even know that you're doing it, but now that you can bring some awareness to it, you'll probably go do something like, oh my God, I've been doing it all along. I didn't even know. But that's because nobody told you to know, right? So here I am telling you to know that when you're lifting, when you're pushing, any kind of exertion, whether it's day-to-day life or in the gym, you want to make sure that you are not doing the pressing out into the abdomen, okay? You want to make sure that you are doing that nice exhale. Inhale first, and then it all comes in together. Pelvic floor is in, glutes are on, everything. Now you're nice, you're strong, you can carry in those 10 bags of groceries, you can squat better, you can pull better, you can push better, you can do everything better and stronger because now your muscles are exactly where they need to be, working how they need to be, your pelvic floor is brought into it, and you don't have this awkward, poor pressure pushing out on your body while you're trying to move. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to message me or comment on the feed here. If you came in late, go back and watch the whole thing to get the full story on what we were doing. Don't forget that in about, I think it's like 14 days, on January 21st, the first email with free workouts and content from my Mom's Return to Training class goes out to all the people that signed up for the beta test. And it's not too late to get on the beta test. So I will post the link when I'm done here chatting with you guys. I'll post the link. You can get signed up for the free beta test, and I'll start sending out workouts and content free every week starting January 21st for 4 weeks. So don't miss out. Let me know if you have any questions, and breathe right. See you later.